Oh, okay.
So, I love that.
Yeah, you know. All right, you remember?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then you can close our door. Let that music play.
I got you.
I could just take the speaker in the conference room because it's like right
Oh,
there.
I thought it was in the conference room.
Nah, it's like right there now.
Right,
Open space.
No.
Okay, awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I was like, the old name, right? It's in the old church.
Hey, you guys.
What's going on, good people? We're going to wait till a few more folks join us, and then we're going to get into celebrating the release of this amazing book, From Broke to Broker, by the amazing Denise Williams. So I'm excited. My name is Stevie Baggs Jr. I'm an actor, author, speaker myself. Played 10 years in the NFL and CFL. You might have seen me on TV. I call it television.
Television.
Yeah, but today it's all about you. And let's see. I think we have enough people. We have some good people on Facebook joining. So what's up, good people?
So I want to apologize, you guys. We weren't able to go on YouTube Live as I advertised. YouTube wouldn't allow me to go live without some 24-hour turnaround, which I didn't know about. So this will be recorded, obviously, and I'll post it. So those that do try to go to YouTube and can't can still have access through my page. So thank you for your patience. I appreciate it.
This is
It's
dope.
a celebration. I'm so excited. Oh, my God.
Yes, as you should be. As you should be. So we're gonna jump right into it, okay? From broke to broker, Denise.
Yes.
All right. I gotta know, how was your writing process? Because my writing process was a little different. So
Because you're an author too.
Yeah,
You didn't include that in the line.
I'm
comma.
Authored 2 books, and my first writing process was a little different than my second book.
Mm-hmm.
So how was your writing process?
Well, my writing process was a little bit complicated. I've heard of it so many different ways. Some people write books and they don't write it themselves. You know, some people write books and they've gone through a course. So that was the route that I took. Ash Cash, actually, shout him out. He was the one who actually gave me the blueprint on how to write this book and how to actually market it and get it sold. So it took me, almost a year to get this book done.
Wow.
It wasn't necessarily just the process itself. It was more so me getting into the mindset and me getting into the mode of like what I wanted to actually put out.
Wow.
Because there are a lot of people who ask me like, how did you decide to write a book, or when did you decide? It really came to my spirit last year. I actually got my cover done and didn't have my first word on paper.
Oh, wow, that's different.
Yes.
So you seen the vision of the actual cover first. Wow.
Yes, I saw the vision of my cover. So the picture that's actually on my book was never intended for my book. This photo was actually from a photo shoot that I did with a colleague of mine.
But it makes sense.
Yeah, and then when I saw the picture, I was just like, wow, that's going to be used for something.
Yeah.
So all the pieces kind of came together separately. It wasn't just like one day I sat down and I'm like, I'm going to write a book. I've been told that I needed to write a book based on everything that I've been through. But the actual process took me about a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you self-publish or did you go through publish?
Yeah, so I self-published. Okay. So yes, from start to finish, just getting the cover done to getting my thoughts on paper, hiring an editor, creating a publishing company, and then, buying my ISBN. There's so many different steps in the process that you don't know about.
This thing costs money right here.
Yes, exactly.
This barcode costs money.
Yes, the cover costs money. You know what I mean? Your editing is going to cost money. And then finally getting to the print process and ordering your samples and trying to figure out where to actually launch the book, like where you want to host it.
Yep. All the way down to the count of what's on the sheet, like the sheet count, the paper quality, the wording, how big the font. Like you have to have the specificity already kind of like in mind of what it is that you want before you do that. Because if not, you can listen to anybody and get steered in the wrong direction.
Absolutely.
The one thing I noticed about your book
Mhm.
is that in the beginning of your book,
Mhm.
you talked about your name. All right, and your given name is, I don't want to pronounce this wrong, Chautauqua, right?
That's right.
Okay, Chautauqua.
That's
So
right.
shout out to moms and pops. I don't know, somebody
My mother, yes.
somebody chose that name, but
Mhm.
you decided to go with your middle name and your last name
Mhm.
as, you know, as opposed to your first given name. Why was that?
So kind of like when I talked about in my book, so one of the things the reason I started with that is because it's such a like, oh wow, I didn't know that about her. So one thing when you're writing a book, what you want to do is start it off with something that's going to wow people, that's going to keep them interested, that's going to be like, oh wow, let me keep reading, I want to know more about this person. But really life experience is what made me make that transition.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of how I went through in my book and describes how, you know, trying to apply for jobs under that name and not getting a call back.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And
Yes.
it's, you know, it's not necessarily a shameful thing.
No, but it's like
just that that's what happens
you
in
get
life.
blacklisted sometimes, or you get
Exactly.
you know, shunned from opportunity
Right.
because people, and going to an HBCU,
Mhm.
they used to tell people, if you have a name like that,
Mhm.
you use S dot
Yeah.
whatever your
They
last
literally
name.
told me that when I went to the college, what do they call it? The career department.
Career days,
You know,
yeah,
at your
yeah.
college. And so in going through that process and submitting resumes and like not getting, and I'm like, I have a high GPA.
Right.
You know, I pledged in a sorority. Shout out Delta Sigma Theta.
Okay.
Yes, and you know, just did everything that I thought I needed to do in order to become successful. So I didn't understand why a name was so, you know, just such a stop block.
Right.
With regards to my career goals. So I felt like it was just a professional decision,
Mhm.
based on what we deem professional in today's society. And it's just been a lot easier.
Yeah.
You know, like you started off, you're like, I don't want to mispronounce it. You know, it just avoids all that
All
kind of
that.
conversation.
Yeah, all those hurdles. And
Yeah,
then you
exactly.
can talk about it, and you know you're not gonna get
Right.
the name wrong, right? So,
right.
no, that makes sense. And then, like you said, people will be able to judge you for what you're bringing to the
Yes.
table before they read your name.
Absolutely.
And it also gives you, like you said, another layer
Mm-hmm.
to kind of tell people
Yeah.
more intimately about who you are.
Absolutely. And it's another thing, like when I make my M's, which I'm on track to do, it's really going to be something that I'm no longer going to have to hide or have to, you know, change to blend in because I will have made it, you know.
Absolutely. And then other young ladies or young men who have
Exactly.
those names can kind of embrace their cultural,
Yeah.
you know, given name.
Right, absolutely. Because my grandmother was Indian. She's from Cherokee tribes. My father, so it's really an Indian.
Me too. Me too.
I
I don't know if I was from the Choctaw tribe. My grandma just drove a Cherokee, but I know I got a little Indian in me. You know, I'm indigenous. You know what I mean? No, but I love that. Yes, I think my grandma drove a Cherokee. So we had Cherokee in our blood, in our family.
You see the hair.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm with you. I understand. So, no, speaking about childhood, you grew up with 5 siblings.
Yes.
Now, how hard or difficult or easy was that?
Growing up with a big family, so it's like nowadays when you hear somebody has 4 and 5 children, it's like, oh, you got all them kids.
Right.
You got all them. But growing up with a big family was a challenge for sure. It was definitely a lot on my parents having to deal with that many children. From a child's perspective, though, we had a lot of fun while we were kids. You know, it was always someone to talk to. I have a son now who's the only child, and for him, it's like video games is his BFF. But for me, when I was growing up, I had someone to talk to. I had someone to play with. You know, it was always something going on. So from that aspect, it was great. On the other side, it's like you kind of live in your sibling shadows for a while. You know what I mean? So you're trying to still find your way, and growing up with a lot of people, they influence the way that you turn out.
Yes.
To be as well. So there's a lot of different personalities in the household. I mean, we would fight. You know, I love we on each other just the same. But we would kind of like a little mini gang. Like we, nobody knew they weren't gonna mess with us because it was so many of us. So it had its pros and cons.
I'm not messing with nobody named Chautauqua. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. I'm not doing that, okay? And then
I got 5 siblings behind me.
That's my point.
You know what I mean?
So where were you at
So,
on the totem pole?
So I was 4th oldest.
Oh yeah.
4th oldest, yes.
Yeah,
So
you were right there in the middle. So you really had a lot of. But I think it gives you more balance. It gives you more diversity. You know how to work older, younger, bridge the gap.
Right,
so
absolutely.
I think it makes sense as to why you're able to broker
Yes.
so many deals.
Absolutely.
So what kind of deals are you brokering? What does this book really stand for? From broke to broker.
So really that name, it came to me one day when I woke up early in the morning. I was laying in my bed one day and thinking about just life, and I'm always up pretty early. And I was just thinking, I'm like, well, what am I gonna name my book? Like, what is gonna be the name? And I just started thinking, and it literally just snapped in my mind. It was like from broke to broker. I'm like, oh my God, that's it. Like, that's so powerful, just to play on words.
Yeah.
To be able to say, and I'm like, it's so true to my life. It's so true to what I've gone through. It couldn't have been more perfect. So what I'm brokering is real estate. So I went from broke, obviously, growing small town, not having a lot, to now we're sitting in my Buckhead suite, you know.
I feel to mention that, folks, that they don't say. We are in the heart of Buckhead. I'm talking about across the street from Lennox. All right?
Across the street
Demon
from
Market is
Lennox.
what they do. I mean, I'm just saying. So we're in Buckhead, and I love seeing this.
Mm-hmm.
And having a melanated woman doing your thing like that, for me is very promising.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Thank you.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned though, Denise, that you grew up poor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that couldn't have been easy.
No.
So how do you think, you give back, since you're in a position now
Right.
to give other young people and adults alike
Mm-hmm.
information on how to get to where you are?
I am.
Yeah.
So this book, I feel like, was a stepping stone to that, because I get that question a lot. You're so young. How were you able to get to where you are? What did you do? People love to ask me, like, where are you from? It's like I'm an alien or something. Like, where are you from? Like, how do you have this mindset? But realistically, I mean, going from where I was, growing up poor, to where I am today, it really just took a lot of hard work. It took a whole lot of dedication to just being very, very set on track to what it is that you want to do. I think when you're growing up, you have a lot of dreams. And in the book, I talk about when I was laying in my bunk bed and how I just wanted space. I wanted to know what I needed to do to get to a place where I didn't have to depend on other people, and to also deal with being in poverty. And so that's where real estate initially started in my life.
Wow.
So as a young child, I knew that real estate was going to be a part of my life. And then as an adult, just getting into experiences where I started a job with Keller Williams, which I didn't name that name in the book, but starting that job and just seeing how every time a real estate check came through that business, that Keller Williams name was on that check. And it was not just the agent's name. They would change constantly. So I knew that I was on the wrong side of this transaction.
Right.
I knew that I needed to be in the broker seat.
Right. You can
And
make
so-
good money as an
You
agent.
can make good money.
But the broker is like, you're
gonna get the override.
You're bridging the gap here.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Absolutely.
So you lost your uncle, you lost your grandmother. How did that shape your intellect? How did that shape your spirit or your consciousness around your life? I mean, that had to be hard. I lost my grandmother,
Oh, wow.
and we were very close. And I've lost my father, and so I know when you lose someone close to you, it's traumatic. It can be traumatic, but you can turn tragedy into triumph.
Absolutely.
And it seems like that's what you were able to do. So can you tell us how that worked?
So loss, I think everyone's experienced loss in some way. Loss is something that's so permanent that it just forces you to think about your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It really makes you sit there and really think. Like when I lost my grandmother, even though I was so young, I was a teenager at the time, the impact that she had made on my life was very significant.
Right.
Your grandparents just love you in a special way.
They do.
There's just a special
They
thing
do.
about grandma, big mama, there's just
They do.
something about that. And so losing my grandmother and my uncle, who were both very impactful in my life, was tragic. I noted in the book that, from my uncle, he passed away, but he left a legacy. He wasn't on this earth but 25 years, but he made such a dynamic impact in the time that he was alive in our community. And so what I learned from that was you need to leave an impact on this world.
You do.
You need to make sure that every day counts, and what you do for people is what they're going to remember. You know what I mean? All these material things are nice, but it's like, what are you actually doing for people to leave a legacy?
Absolutely.
And so losing him, and as an adult reflecting back, I was like, wow, that was a powerful lesson. I wish I didn't have to lose him, but that's what I took away from that. You don't have to be, super old to leave a legacy. You can be young and make an impact on this world
that's so
and continue
profound.
to build.
No, that's so profound, because we see the old pictures of Malcolm X,
Right.
Martin Luther King, and black and white, And you think, young people think, this is so old fashioned.
Yeah.
I can't do this.
No.
But these people died in their 20s and 30s.
Yes, and that's something that we need to know. Like, those ages are important.
But it means that they were doing their work when they were young, right?
Absolutely.
And legacy is not all about leaving cars and houses and money.
Yeah.
It's about leaving a level of consciousness.
Yeah.
Because if I leave you clothes and houses and money and cars, but you don't know how to flip,
you don't know what to do with it. Mm-hmm.
Now we have a problem.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that your uncle was able to leave something behind, and you can tell a tree by its fruit, and a fruit by its tree. So kudos to both, your grandparents and your uncle.
Yeah, absolutely.
For that. You went to VSU.
VSU, Blazers.
Oh my goodness!
Got my red on.
We call that North Florida. You know that, right?
Oh really?
Yeah.
Why?
Cause
it's right there by Tallahassee. So.
That's what I'm saying. We call it North Florida.
So you been to the moon?
So I've been to the moon. Yes. So I went to Bethune-Cookman. So Sam was our rival.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I spent some time.
You spent some time in Okay.
But Valdosta State, people from Valdosta were always known to be good football players. So, and they had a good football team. But you went to VSU, but you got pregnant in college. So what? How did you handle all of that? What was up?
Hold on, guys.
You got to take a drink. Let me take one too, man, because I don't want to be too thirsty. You know what I mean?
Yes,
what's up?
So coming from Hinesville to going into college, it was a huge transition. When you're young, like I was really into just doing the right thing in high school. I was really active in sports. I did beauty pageants and just always kept myself really, really busy. And growing up, my mom was very, very strict with us with regard to the way that she raised us. And it was all because she wanted us to be really, really great people. Right. There are parents nowadays that just won't raise their children. Yeah. She did everything that she could to help us to make the best decisions in life possible. And so with that, there comes with some things as a child you don't really understand. You don't understand why you can't go to the parties that other people are going to, or why you're not allowed to stay out super late, or why you can't go to this person's house or that person's house. So you don't understand that. And then, I mentioned in my book going to church quite frequently. So she was very, very strong on that, which I appreciate now, because I know the prayers from back then are what have carried me, through the things that I've been through. But to say, so from going from that kind of household to where, putting God first and do the right thing and all those things, to now going to college. And in your second year being out of my watch, from under my watch, all the things I tried to teach you, now
that's one of the scariest things. That's one of the scariest things.
It's like I worked so hard in order to help you avoid situations like this. Yeah. Yet you go out and it didn't take you long to disobey me, you know what I mean? Or to embarrass me, or to do whatever it is that she may have felt. So that was hard, dealing with that, on that side. But actually the embarrassment, in itself.
Because people in the church, my God. It's a lot of finger points.
Yes.
And so I'm sure that could be.
Yeah, it was very, very heavy.
Wow.
It was a very, very tough time to be pregnant on campus, and not just pregnant, but pregnant at the same time as another woman.
Oh, of the person who you were dating.
Yeah, so the same guy got two women, pregnant. So dealing with that situation while on campus, and you're still young at that time. Yeah. I was only 20 years old. Right. Yeah. Exactly. So not only am I in a transition from childhood to preteen to adulthood, real adulthood, 20, 21 years old, I'm still in school. I'm in college. So it's like trying to juggle being in college and now, because when you're in college, you're not really dealing with the real world yet. No. You're not. If you make it through college without pregnancy, without any adult real situations, you're really just in college to party and get your degree. But I was faced with true adulthood in that moment. And so it was something that could have broke me.
Oh, absolutely.
Realistically. There are so many stories of people who pregnant in high school, who got pregnant in college, and then still decided to, back out, whatever the case may be. So it really took a lot, not just me, but the help of my family, the help of my mother and my sister, and helping me with my son to get through that stage. It was difficult.
And then when you're speaking of your son, Destin had a fight for his life.
Yeah.
Right? And was that during the same time?
Yeah, so I actually got diagnosed prenatally that there was an issue with Destin.
Okay.
And I'm like, hold on now, you trying to make me
I'm
bring
talking
out
about
the
my baby.
you
I'm talking about my baby.
You about to make
Yeah.
me bring out the Kleenex. Hold on now.
Where is that? This is mine. There's one right there. Let me get it for you.
Oh, you didn't.
No, I mean, I'm
you
just
can't
saying.
pop that up on me now.
I'm just saying. We're talking about the
Yeah.
whole process. And,
Right.
You know, it's a real thing.
Right, definitely. So, being pregnant, yes, it was embarrassing and everything like that. And it was really hard for me to embrace becoming a mother because you're not thinking that that's what's going to happen to you. I genuinely felt like it wasn't fair.
Wow.
I really felt like, I'm like, man, there's some thoughts out here that ain't never got pregnant. I'm a church girl. I'm trying to do the right thing. And here I go, So it took me a while to really come to grips with like, no, like this is your life. You made this choice. You have to now deal with it. And so because of the stress, I think of him having someone else pregnant while still trying to get an education, while still trying to work and pay bills, caused him to have some issues. I really do think the stress that I was going through affected my pregnancy quite a bit.
Yeah.
You read books about it, you read articles about it and all of those things because I was extremely healthy. So I know it wasn't that, but it was just the fact of just being so stressed out. So I was actually told while I was still pregnant that there were issues. And so as any mother, whether you're ready or not, that's news you just don't want to hear.
No.
Because everything was going through my mind. I'm like, is he going to be special needs? Is he going to have, issues that last forever? Like, what is going on? So they told me that, he had cysts on his lungs. And because it was so severe, they weren't actually able to help him in Valdosta. I had to actually travel to Atlanta to see a specialist for the situation. And just being a broke college student on Medicaid, it was just like, what is going on? How am I going to afford this? Another thing that added to it. And so I'm just like, traveling to Atlanta, going to see the specialist and finding those things out. So honestly, they told me he may not live, based on that situation because it was attached to his lungs and you can't breathe, obviously, when it's attached to your lungs. So.
Well, obviously, he's out of it. How young is he now?
He's 11.
11
years ago.
Kudos to you. Kudos to you. That's a heck of a testimony.
He grew up with me.
That's a heck of a testimony. And you talked about stress, and I think people do need to understand that, emotional dis-ease causes physical dizziness.
It does.
So when your emotions are stressed, your economics are stressed, then that gives you physical stress.
Yeah.
And once you let go of all those things though, then you find out how beautiful life really is, and how much of the things that differ from what we want, what we need, it's a different energy. Yeah. Right? And so I think we get this pressure from society.
Oh, absolutely.
And it just puts on where you have to be like this, you have to be like that. Hold up,
that's not your story, that's not my story.
It can't be defined by just that.
Yeah.
So I love that. Now, what advice would you give single mothers that want to start a business? Because I assume you were a single mother. I don't want to assume, but I think you were a single mother. And what you went through school, you did your thing, and then entrepreneurship. What advice would you give single mothers?
One of the things that I do want to say is that, oftentimes as mothers, we want to give to our children. We want to give all that we have to our children, and we don't like to always ask for help. I think as a single mother, you have to be okay with asking for help. Even if the father is not in the picture the way that you want him to, you have to ask your family to help you. I couldn't have done this alone. I couldn't have done this without my village. And so that's one of the things that we can be so prideful sometimes as women, especially I can speak from a Black woman's perspective. Black women, we like to be strong. We like to, hold things in and just make it happen. I don't need a man or whatever the case may be. No, you need help.
Yeah.
We all need help. And so I can't stress that enough. Like, if you want to start a business, don't try to go into it and think that you have to just do, like you have something to prove. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay to
everybody want to have that self-made
Everybody want to have that self-made story. Yes, everybody wants to have that, but it's okay to humble yourself and to ask people to help you out so that you can start that business, so that you can push it. Because it's something that's necessary. You definitely, even if you do work a full-time job, it's necessary to figure out how to juggle being that, a single mother and having a child. And I'm grateful that I feel like I've always been ambitious. And I leveraged that, having Destin, as something that gave me even more strength. I feel like sometimes single moms use it as an excuse or a crutch.
Right.
And, you know, I might get some negative feedback from that, but I do believe that. I
Yeah.
believe that sometimes it's like, okay, well, I had a baby, so I had to give up on X, Y, and Z. Yes, there are going to be challenges. Yes, there's going to be times where you may not be able to afford certain things, but it's like, if you how much are you willing to sacrifice?
Right.
Because it can be done. I'm proof that it can be done. Like, if you have that goal, sis, go after your goal, child or not. Like, don't allow that to be a crutch to what you can become or the vision that you see for yourself. Keep pushing, keep going. You know what I mean? I've had to have real estate showings with my son on my hip.
Wow.
Because I was
That's
that
how driven,
determined.
That's how driven you are.
I had to apologize to my clients. Hey, I don't have a sitter today, but I really want to show you this house. Do you mind if he comes? You have to be creative.
And most of the time, though, people will be okay with that, right? And I think we just are afraid. And like we're in the middle of Buckhead, people see the glory, but they don't look at the story and know those types of things that you have to hear to get there. Because it's like the sense of entitlement of entrepreneurship too today is like, I'm going to get it right now, and if I don't get it right now, it's not. No, it's a process.
It is a process.
So yeah, there's some refining that has to happen, and now those stories that you're talking about makes you appreciate
absolutely
this space and this time.
Yeah, I walk into my office sometimes, I'm not even gonna lie, and I just cry.
Wow.
I just cry because I'm just like, God, wow, you really helped me to overcome so much to get to this place. Like, you know, you gotta love me. Like, you have to exist, because how? You know, how? And sometimes, and I think that, like, I really appreciate the people who have, I got my makeup done, y'all. I'm trying to be cute. Who have poured into me in a way.
Yeah.
It's all greatness in me before I can see it in myself.
Yeah.
And I think that happens often. You know, you don't always see how great you are. Other people may see it before you do. And so just going through the experiences that I have in life, I wasn't always confident. I didn't always have this posture where I'm that woman, I'm that girl. You know, that's something that has to be groomed, and that's something that has to be grown.
No, you're right. In a system, in a society, especially for melanated people, I always talk about the fact that we've been told that we were slaves since kindergarten.
Yeah.
So you're gonna do slave things.
Absolutely.
You know, and if another person told they're a master, they're gonna do master things.
Exactly.
So there's some unlearning and relearning that we have to do anyway.
Yeah.
From that perspective, but to see you blossom into the woman that you are today, for me is tremendous, and I'm proud to interview you. I'm proud to know you. Proud for you to be in the Authors Club. It's hard to write your story.
Yeah.
And tell your story, and I tell people all the time, we all have a story to tell. But when you take the time to really tell your story and write it down, the prefix to the word authority is author.
Yes.
So when you author something, you give it authority to come to pass. So
say
your story, your goals, your vision, you take authority over that.
Yeah.
And so I salute you. Now, you did VSU, and then after you went to VSU, I'm gonna lighten it up a little bit because I don't want to get too heavy. Then you went,
they got running.
Then you went though to Clayton State.
Yes.
So what was that all about?
So my idea of going to Clayton State was, so the timeline, I graduated from VSU in 2011.
With a what degree?
A degree in finance.
Okay.
Yes.
So you know about the check. You know about the check. All right.
So yeah, I got that degree. And that's another thing. It's like, I have a specialized degree in business. Why is it so hard to find a job? You know, so I had to make some changes. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So got a job at Title Max right out of college, which was not a good experience at all. I talk about that in the book. But one of the things that I wanted to do was, I really wanted to set a standard in my life. You know, entrepreneurship can be extremely risky. So I knew I wanted to get into real estate after doing some research, but I also didn't want what happened in 2008 to happen again, and I'm unprepared.
Got it.
So I wanted to go and get my MBA degree, because I figured, hey, if worst come to worst, I have an MBA degree, I can still provide for my family in a way that, you know, real estate would also allow.
Got it.
So I felt like if I had that under my belt, I could either go corporate or I can go entrepreneurship, because you just don't know what would happen or what would stick.
You were trying to just be covered, well balanced.
Yeah, I wanted to be well balanced for sure. So I actually got my real estate license in July of 2012, and then started MBA classes in August. So I wasn't playing no
You
games.
didn't take a break.
No, I didn't take a break. I was in it.
Which means you had to be applying for these schools while you were
Yes,
still in school, because that's the
exactly.
process too.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, absolutely.
You were driven. You are
Yes.
a driven woman.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's impressive. That's
Mhm.
impressive. Now, has your MBA helped you? I just
Really? So Williams and Co.
Just
has
curious.
international in the name.
uh-huh.
I have an MBA degree in international business.
Hey, that's what my degree is in. International business. Okay.
Yeah, so international business and then another in supply chain management logistics. So that's awesome. So I think it's helped me with regard to sometimes you need to just boss up.
Yeah.
You know, it's helped me in rooms
Oh yeah.
that aren't necessarily on social
Yeah,
media.
and it's so true because
It
people,
leads the way.
yeah, you have a. I say this all the time. You gonna like this? How
Mhm.
you have a PhD with no GOD?
Mm,
I know a lot of people with
absolutely.
master's degrees, but
Yeah.
no knowledge of the master.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Then you didn't get your bachelor's degree by yourself. You had help.
Yeah.
Right? And so I don't like that when people try to put that as the end all be all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cool to have a degree. We know you went to school, boom, boom, boom.
Mm-hmm.
But what's going on in here?
Yeah.
What's really going on here?
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, like your degree ain't gonna do.
What he can do.
I'm talking about your degree had nothing to do with you calling that person saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
my son is with me.
Yes.
Can I come show you this house?"
Right. Right.
Your degree in finance had nothing to do
Nothing
with that.
to do with it.
That's called intestinal fortitude, what
Yeah.
we call it in football. That's called drive. That's called focus, grit,
Yeah.
vision, and you have to have those types of things.
You have to believe in yourself.
Yeah, you do. So I love that. I love hearing
Mhm.
that story. So international business. Did you study abroad?
I did.
What
I
did
did.
you do? 'Cause
I
in
actually
what
went
language?
well, I didn't speak another language. So I had a minor in Spanish. That's
Okay.
actually one of the things that I have not finished that I've started. So I'm going to finish that.
Okay.
That's on my to-do list. So yeah, Spanish is definitely something I want to learn. But I studied abroad in Panama,
Mhm.
and then I also studied abroad again in China. So, you know, there are plenty of people that I know, especially from Hinesville, that have never been able to be out of the country.
No.
So it's truly a blessing, and not even just people from Hinesville, people all over the world who have not been out of the country.
Now where exactly
So-
is? Hold on, because let me put this car in reverse. I forgot to ask you about this Hinesville thing. Hinesville, Georgia. That's what we call it, Hinesville, Georgia.
Yeah.
You know, so that we from the
Yes, for the root. Yes.
Wow. That's what's up.
Yeah. Hinesville, Georgia. So you heard of Savannah, right?
I have no Savannah
So
well.
yes, outside of Savannah. You've been on River Street. You're talking about you
Yes.
know it well.
I know
Okay.
it well.
You know,
And let me tell you,
SSU.
so my great uncle used to live there. I was tripping with him there when I was young. And
Okay.
then I just shot a TV series out there called Underground Railroad that's coming out this
wow.
year. So
Oh,
I was in Savannah for a month, and then
Why you didn't call me? I could be an extra.
man, listen,
Playing.
I don't know. When I do the next one, I got you.
Listen, y'all better comment. Stevie, invite her to the next one.
When I do the next one, we got it. We got it, y'all.
Yeah,
That's
Savannah-
dope. Savannah was very
So
good.
it's right on the outskirts. You heard of Fort Stewart, so it's like connected to Fort Stewart.
I didn't hear Fort Stewart.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, I ain't want to lie to you. Yeah, I heard Fort Stewart too, but I didn't hear Fort Stewart. But I love
Yeah, very
Savannah.
small town.
Love the food, love the people.
Oh, yeah.
Down home, it was love.
Yeah,
Love Savannah.
yeah.
And then we used to whoop up on Savannah State.
Oh my God! Don't talk about SSU now. Don't talk
But
about SSU.
I love Savannah State.
Savannah State.
I went to
lit.
speak there. The campus is beautiful. The people are amazing. I love it. So
Mhm.
anyway, back to China, Panama.
Yes.
That experience was amazing. Coming from Hinesville
Yeah.
to boom, wow,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So that was definitely eye-opening to see other parts of the world.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was great. Panama, I mean, just the culture of Panama was just so beautiful. The pulse, like when you get off the airplane, you just feel like, ooh, I just want to learn. I want to learn how to dance or
Yeah.
something. You know, I want to salsa or something.
Yeah.
It's just so beautiful. I love Panama. Panama was awesome. You know, we did tours of different businesses. I actually went on a ship through the Panama Canal. So that was a part of the experience. So that was pretty awesome. And then in China, I'm terrified of heights. Anybody that knows me is like, heights is not my thing. So I climbed the Great Wall of China.
Oh,
So I had to have that experience, you know what I mean? So I've actually been on the Great Wall of China, which was awesome. I did not go as high as you could, because I mean, tourists can go really, really high. I mean, I took my little photos, you know, did a photo shoot, I climbed a few, and then I slid down. They have this cool little slide that you can slide up for the people that's scary like me. You just slide on down.
Wow.
But to see that and know, I'm like, wow.
How long were you abroad?
I was abroad for almost a month.
Wow,
Mhm.
that's awesome. I mean,
Yes, it was awesome.
anytime you get to experience different culture, I think
Right.
it not only broadens your perspective on life and your different truths, but I think it gives you a certain level of appreciation for where you come from
Yeah,
too, right? Because you
definitely.
can see the beauty in their culture and their practices,
Right.
and yours, and how it kind of is. It's a lot similar than we would think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most people care about their faith, their family, and
Mhm. And it's just laser focused.
right.
And I think it's helped me to not just see locally.
Oh yeah.
Understand that you can sell abroad. There is so much world out
Absolutely.
here, so much world. Even with this book, I've gotten orders from overseas. I've gotten people all across the nation. So it's awesome to just know that it's not just about Atlanta. Like, that's so small thinking. Like, the whole world is big, and if you don't go and explore that or actually experience it, you can really get caught up in, oh, who's going to support me in Atlanta? You're thinking small.
And you've been in a box.
You can't think like that. You have to think, no, I'm going to put this out. I'm going to impact the world.
Yeah.
When I do something, my mindset is, who in the world
It's global.
can I help?
It's global.
Not who in Atlanta can I help. Not
Yeah.
who on just in my sphere can I help. I'm not thinking about if a friend of mine from high school is going to support my book, if they going to do this. No, you have to focus on the bigger
That's
picture.
so powerful.
You got to focus on the world, because you're not here to just impact your circle. You're here to impact the world. And so that's the way that I view
I love
when I
that.
do different things.
No, I love that. Legacy is not just with your family either. Legacy is universal as well. It's international. It's global.
Absolutely.
And if you can have an impact or a footprint, why limit it?
Yeah.
If it could be global, right?
Absolutely.
I love that.
So I'm like, people on here, on my Instagram, on my Facebook, I'm like, I may not have even met all of y'all, but
Right.
y'all support me, and I appreciate
Yeah.
that. So social media has really laid the playing field for you to impact so many lives. So that idea that you're sitting on, you need to go after it, because stop thinking about who won't support you, or whatever. Impact other people, because there are people in other countries. Another thing that you'll notice, that appreciate
Absolutely.
Americans, or appreciate what it is that we do and want what we have.
Wow.
That's
so true.
The first review that I have on my site about my book is from someone, my editor, who's overseas. And he's like, wow, this is just so powerful. Like, he loved my book. So that just shows you.
I mean, I'm looking at somebody right here says, great read, 5-star.
Oh, thank you.
Somebody
Thank
said I'm
you.
about to read the book today. Like,
Yes.
it's amazing to have that kind of support.
Thank you. Yes,
That
thank
kind of
you
support.
so much.
And it meant that you put in some work. Now,
I did.
broker.
Uh-huh.
What's the difference between a real estate broker and an owner?
Or agent, you mean like?
Well, I know the difference between
the
an agent
Mm-hmm.
and a broker, but is there
broker
like
and owner.
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah, so the difference between being a broker and an owner, so you can be a licensed agent in the state of Georgia. To become a broker, it takes 3 years. There are some experience requirements, application, and you have to go back to school to get your broker license, right? So there are people who never get their broker license. It doesn't mean that they're a bad real estate professional or anything. It's just about what your goals are. But people get their broker license, but oftentimes they will affiliate still with a larger firm.
Okay.
So that larger firm will hold their broker license as an associate broker. And they may have like a team of agents under them,
Wow.
5, 10 people or bigger. It just depends on the size of their team. But teams are usually pretty tight knit. Now, the difference between doing it that way and the way that I've done it is that now my name is on the wall.
Wow.
I don't work for a brokerage. I created a brokerage. So that's just a difference. So now agents work under my brokerage as a team.
So do you charge your agents like by the month or by the deal or
So both.
all the okay?
It's
all of the
both.
above, okay.
Yeah, so most brokerages charge a monthly fee and then also a commission split or a.
So if I had my real estate license, I could come work for you.
Come on.
I can be a
Look,
part of the
now
brokerage.
hiring plug. Listen, go ahead and get your license, Stevie.
Has COVID impacted your business as a broker?
It has.
Has it been good or bad?
It's been good. It's been good and it's been bad.
Okay.
So let's talk about the good. So it's been great because, I'm super busy right now because interest rates for buyers are super low, and so people are really out in the market. It's summertime as well. So, that hasn't really stopped many people from wanting to buy a house. But what has impacted us on the negative side is that I've actually had clients that have been affected by COVID-19. So it's really allowed me to rethink my business strategy.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of businesses, thank God I haven't had to shut my doors on my office space. You know, there are businesses who have had to close the doors on their office space
absolutely.
because of COVID-19. You know, I know personally in this building alone, an entire floor went bankrupt. And so I'm just grateful to be able to still maintain and stay afloat during this time. So it is tough on certain businesses, but I'm thankful that we've been able to continue to thrive. But on the negative side, I've had to rethink how I do business. So now, you know, I'm so accustomed to doing in-person meetings with people and being able to show all the properties and show all the houses. So it's allowed us to be creative in our thinking, using more of a virtual platform, reaching our audiences using Zoom, or, you know, just showings virtually, and, you know, all those things are affected. So if you're not in an industry that can pivot and that can refocus, it's going to be very, very hard for you if you're really dependent on client interaction.
No, I mean, if you're in the people business, when you have to have face to face, it was rough. Like,
it's rough.
I told people I didn't pivot, I did a Euro step. You know, I had to do a whole Euro step because you know, as an actor, as a speaker,
so after they had to stop that,
we had to stop being on set. Then when you do auditions, sometimes you go in and do these taped auditions. So that stopped. I was doing virtual auditions with a person on Zoom, and they were like filming me. And it's like weird.
This is weird
because it's like you want to feel the energy of the person.
Yes.
So, what does your day to day look like though now with that?
Yeah.
Is it the whole virtual piece, and then how do you show a house, or how do you show, you know, like?
Yeah, so basically it is more virtual. So you're investing more in working with videographers to actually give you virtual tours of your property, so that people can watch a video, you know, about the property and submit an offer. So there are times where some sellers, especially if it's a home that they currently live in, they're forcing you to write an offer before the buyer can see the home. So that's definitely different, because most people would never put in an offer on a home they couldn't see. But now it's allowing people to be more open to going ahead and submitting offers in advance. Because of COVID-19, they want to keep down the number of visitors in the house.
Got it.
So that's one of the things that has changed. Another thing is doing all of the training online. So I don't really get to see my team, which sucks, because I really, really love that interaction. I'm a hugger. I want to hug everybody as soon as I see them, you know?
Yeah.
So that kind of affects just that connection with my team or whatever, not being able to have that physical contact. So everything that we've been doing now has been virtual, and that's different. I was already using technology, like we have a Facebook group and I do Zoom, but now it's 100%.
Wow.
And so that's been different. Recruiting is virtual. So I have to really put it on for the camera, you know, it's versus being able to be in person and
you can feel if they're receiving your message, right?
Yeah.
And like, that was the one thing I noticed that was different. I'm like, man, I'm speaking to 300 students on a Zoom.
Yeah, like, are y'all
vibing with me? Like,
cool? I
can't see the comments. like what's happening?
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of work to,
and
you have to have a lot of confidence in yourself, because it's like, I gotta know that what I'm saying is real, and it's me, and if you don't like it, you don't like it, but this is my truth, and I'm gone. And so now, can we talk a little bit about relationship stuff?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I want to find out, you know, what's going on with you in that department, because I think you were once engaged and it didn't work out. Why do you think it didn't work out?
There's a variety of reasons why it didn't work out. Being in a relationship, if you've ever been in a relationship, you know that there's ups and downs. You know that sometimes you make decisions for people that may not necessarily be what you want to do, but in an effort to compromise, you end up making that decision. So let's talk about it. I was in a previous relationship. We ended up getting engaged, and he was relocated because of his job. And so because of that, I was faced with this dilemma, right? We could either do a long distance relationship, or I could relocate so that we could build what we had. So I chose to do that. Like women, y'all feel me, you choose to do sometimes in an effort to compromise and grow, and you don't want to necessarily be away from your partner that long. Well, I relocated to Florida. And in doing that, there was a blessing that came out of it. I went to real estate school, and that's where I actually obtained my broker license. So I was a realtor in Georgia, but I became a broker in Florida. while I lived there. So that's been
Wow.
helpful with regards to that. So now I'm licensed in both states. I'm
Yeah.
licensed in Florida
That's
and in Georgia. And I have nothing negative to necessarily say about the situation other than you have to learn that putting yourself first is so important. So I made that decision based on a promise that was made to me, and it wasn't kept, basically. And so, you know, just trying, it was definitely tough. I'm a Georgia girl at heart. I've been in Georgia, you know, all my life. So
Right.
learning and moving to another place where not knowing any family, not having any friends and things like that, and a relationship being, you know, rocky or whatever, decided to just let it go. You know, sometimes you have to make that tough call and say, you know, what is really best for me and my son?
Right.
You know, being a mother, I am a mother, so just making the best decision for us it caused me to make a tough one. And I you know, we had some differences in just the way that we viewed marriage and the way that we want to run a household. Like, these are all conversations you need to really, really have.
Absolutely.
You need to really dive into, like, you know, well, how do you want to raise your children, or how, you know, what relationship with God do you have, or
Yeah.
you know, spirituality, relationships with the children, career goals, you know, savings goals, like how is a household run, or how splitting it,
politics,
everything. You need to
education.
iron out all of those. And if you learn that the cons outweigh the pros, then it may not be something that you want to continue.
Or you know, I tell people all the time,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to relationships, it's not that you are the other person is a bad person.
Absolutely.
It's just that we don't process information the same.
Yeah.
It's a real simple key.
Yeah.
So that means the prefix to the word relationship is relate.
Mm.
So if we don't relate, so a
Mhm.
ship brings things to and from,
Uh-huh.
and if the things you're bringing to me on my ship don't relate with what I'm bringing to you on your ship, then we can't have a
We can't
relationship.
have a relationship.
Well, what about the parts?
Yeah.
If the parts of your ship that you bring to me don't fit the parts of my ship, we can't have a
We can't have a
partnership.
partnership.
So on and so forth.
That
Worship,
makes sense.
all that.
That's good.
And so at the end of the day, I think it's quite simple. If you don't process information like I do,
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think we don't recognize that when you hear time and season for everything,
Yeah.
we put eternity on what we want to put eternity on.
Mm.
We put eternity on what society says should be eternal.
Mhm.
Well, destiny is always going to be your son,
A
but he's not
constant.
going to always be your child.
Yeah.
It's going to be one day he's going to
You'll
be
be
grown.
grown.
So it's the reality of it, and just like your mom had to go through it,
Yeah.
and my mom, and I have a daughter, and I say the
Yeah.
same thing.
And she's so cute.
Thank you. But at the end of it all,
Mhm.
what it boils down to is that if you live in your purpose and
Yeah.
your peace, then that'll dwindle around and down to everyone that's connected to you. And I think that's key. Now, did you practice in Florida your brokerage?
I did.
So you started your brokerage firm in Florida.
I worked on a team, so I had
Wow.
the license. So how I mentioned, you can have the broker license but work under a firm.
Got you.
So I worked under a firm. It wasn't until I transitioned back into Atlanta that I actually started my own company. So I
Wow.
worked for a startup first. That's where we actually met a few years
Oh
ago.
yeah.
And then transitioned to opening my own business.
Wow.
Mhm.
This is awesome. Now, so what's it like working with your boyfriend now?
Woo, it's great. Like, first of all,
You just saying that because he's watching her. Yeah, I mean,
No,
all right.
No,
That's
absolutely.
great.
So he's amazing. Like, realistically, like, seriously, we do a lot of things together. It's not just like real estate focused. You know, he believes in me, and that's something that's irreplaceable. Like, he supports me to, like, even today, like, literally sweat down his back, sweat dripping, like moving
Man, I
furniture,
see my
doing
man
everything.
going on
Yeah,
like,
I mean, just the support, the level of support that he has given me and provided in this relationship is unmatched. It's something I've never experienced. I mean, I can call Austin in the middle of the night and be like, hey, I got this idea. Like, what you think? He's like, you know, if you want to do it, like, I'm with you, you know? And we're ironing out the details or whatever, but it's been a blessing to have somebody that not only understands the business that I'm in, but understands me and accepts me for who I am as an individual. You know what I mean? I'm extremely professional, but I can be a little ratchet sometimes. You
Absolutely.
know? I like to turn up.
It's
I
that
like
balance.
to have fun.
It's
And
balance.
he adjusts with me. He allows me to be me. And in previous relationships, I found that oftentimes I was trying to mold myself into what image they thought they wanted,
Bingo.
versus being able to stand in my person as myself and say, accept me for who I am. Obviously, there's compromise, right? You know, he's extremely reserved, so I have to respect that. and things like that. But overall, I can't complain because he really does accept me as a whole.
No, I mean that's a beautiful thing because it's rare to have people that you partnered with on an intimate level and in a business level really work.
And it was hard to get him to come over. Like, he was not necessarily feeling that whole join the brokerage thing. But when we really looked at it as a big picture, it's like, why would you give another company, money from that you're making, and let's just build together. Like, let's build this empire and make it great. Because he's extremely intelligent. I'm so proud of him. He's actually going to Yale in the fall. He's been accepted into Ivy League school. So proud of him. Super sharp guy. So.
That's tremendous.
And now, he fine and whatever.
Y'all heard it. I can't co-sign on that. You know what I'm saying? But y'all heard what she said.
Hey, right there.
I love it.
Yes.
That's awesome to hear. It really is. So Denise, what's next for you? I mean, you have the book out. You have the business going. You got the family, the friends, the son. It seems like everything is
it's lining up. God is good. God is good. But yeah, definitely marriage. I definitely want more children. And expanding my company. We've been approved for a second location. I'm teeter-tottering on when I want to actually pursue that. That's one of the things. I have more courses that I want to do to help people in the real estate industry. But one of the things that I've found, because we grow and we develop, right? I want to get into more coaching. I've had other entrepreneurs reach out to me with regards to, like, how did you do it? What do you do? What are the actual steps? I really want to become someone that's a go-to for first-time entrepreneurs, really help them to build out their plan, their step-by-step, because a lot of entrepreneurs just don't know where to start. A lot of people are just getting logos made and throwing something up.
Right.
But you don't know, like, what comes behind that logo. Like, you have to position yourself to actually win. I can't tell you, and I know because I've had so many businesses to fail. So I've been able to build up experience in a portfolio of steps that you need to take as an entrepreneur to actually get something to kick and to get fired. Because that's what a lot of first-time entrepreneurs are struggling with. They just don't know how to make their business catch fire.
Wow. So at the end of it all, Denise, what do you want to be remembered for?
What do I want to be remembered for? Stevie, that's a good one. I want to be remembered for someone who actually poured into her people. I want to be someone who is remembered for the things that I've been able to do and accomplish again. Like, it's not just about me. Like, I don't live my life on a daily basis about, thinking about myself. I live my life every day on, like, how can I impact you? Literally in my interviews with agents, one of my core values is how can I help you? It's entrepreneurship. It's an E in the right concept. It's RITE is an acronym for realtors, investors, travelers, and entrepreneurs. That E for me is the most special part for me because it's about how can I help you as an individual become a better person? How was your interaction with me so good that it left you being a better person? Because you may not find real estate is what you want to do. Yeah. But you met Denise and now she's poured something into you, some gem, some piece of knowledge that has now been something that can help take you to the next level. Mm-hmm. So I want to be known for helping people grow, helping them develop, and helping them be better. Because money is a byproduct of it all. So that's never the focus. It's about giving back and helping people. It's a tool. It comes and it goes. I'm like, I can't tell you. I'm like, I spent $1,000 today. I'm like, wait a minute.
Right, where did it go? Yeah.
So it comes and it goes. But the lasting impact of just, being a genuine person, pouring into someone and caring about them, I feel like it's so needed nowadays. I mean, especially with what's going on in the world. People need love. Mm-hmm. They need people that genuinely care, that genuinely want to see them grow and win. And so that's just what I try to give off to people that interact with me or do business with me or whatever. I try to just be as genuine as possible and also help them to be better individuals, whether it's a client or an agent. Wow. I have some clients that are like BFFs now because we've had some real life conversation and I've been able to pour into them, because I want everybody that interacts with me to have a positive experience.
Well, I'm gonna connect my mom. My mom is a real estate agent.
Oh, she is. Come on,
I'm gonna make it happen.
Yeah, tell me.
You guys do what you guys do.
Yes.
But let me tell you this: you are really making your dash count. From my summation of the woman you are and how many people you're impacting with your platform, your stage is tremendous. And I always have a play on words. So you got testimony, less lesson, less message, adversity advantage. Turmoil turns into tranquility. Tragedy turns into triumph. A lesson turns into a lesson.
Yeah.
But you created broke to broker, and that's along the same lines. And so I want everybody out here who's watching to go pick up at www.DeniseTheBroker.com. Broke the broker. You won't be disappointed.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Stevie, for this interview. Thank you for helping me. I wanted to just give a quick second. I don't know if we have any questions. I don't have my glasses on, y'all, so I can't see if we have any questions. Now it's just a couple minutes to go and see what questions you guys have. Who has any questions? And then I see some stuff happening on Instagram, but I'm not exactly sure if it's questions.
The interview and the interviewer was awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'm only a reflection, man. I mean, I'm just saying.
Know if there was any questions on anything. So yeah, if you have any questions that you want to ask me about the book, if you've read the book, I know that people have finally started to receive the book, so you may not know specific questions, but reach out to me. I want to connect with you guys. I want to do a better job at connecting with my followers, and that's what this interview was about today. I wanted to give you guys a real life just insight into who I am, what I've been through, what I've grown through, and how I've gotten to where I am today. So this has been awesome.
I'm in Florida thinking of getting my broker's license.
Okay.
I would love your mentorship. Also, I plan to move to GA.
Oh, awesome.
That's Realtor Royce.
Oh, Realtor Royce. Hey, Royce, how you doing?
Love you, Taco.
Taco.
That's
Hey,
Taco,
okay. Yes, Taco. That's my nickname.
Blessings.
Yes, absolutely.
They're like Shay Janice, I think that's what it says. Yeah, so man, you got a lot of love out there. It's beautiful to have support.
Yeah,
it really is.
It is definitely. But Royce, you got my number. Call me, girl. We can talk about what that transition is going to look like, because it's a lot. It's definitely a lot to make the transition from agent to broker. I want to know a little bit more about your background as an agent and what it is that your goals are, because I can better talk to you about the steps or plan of action to put in place to actually become a broker and start to hire agents under you. So yeah, let's definitely talk about that. Were there any other questions on that?
Let's see. Okay. Really special watch. So proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much
for it all. That's awesome, Austin. That's dope. All right, here we go. Hey, yes, ma'am. Okay, she said yes, ma'am. I think she thinks she's finally ready.
Okay, awesome.
So sometimes you just need that little bit of push, that inspiration. Inspiration starts with our end.
Yeah.
So even though we look without, sometimes we look within.
Yeah.
We really can find that true inspiration. I want to show them. I already gave it to her, but I'm gonna show them. But this is my book called Woke.
Y'all gotta definitely check this out.
Yeah, check it out. It's a book on etymology, linguistics, semantics. It's a dictionary for the conscious mind. And so
where can they get this book?
She don't know I'm already taking this one. So we really doing the book trade, you know what I'm saying? But
you got the first ebook though.
Yes, I got the first ebook.
The ebook is also available on my website, DeniseTheBroker.com.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let you chill on your hard copy, because I know how this goes. I know how this goes.
So yeah, where can they get your book?
StevieBaggsJr.com.
StevieBaggsJr.com.
Yeah, and then you'll see Woke there. Yeah, it's really been going
y'all
well.
Make sure y'all check it out.
I had my release in Buckhead too.
Cool. Really?
I had my release.
You should have called me. Could have had my office.
Yeah, it's funny. It was at Connoisseur Perry right down there.
Yeah.
Nice. And one of my friends, he owns that spot, and Melanated owned business as well.
Oh, nice.
So it was just good to be able to first to break bread on that together. But
yeah.
Any advice you need, moving forward when you're speaking, you're coaching, just let me know, because that's my lane, that's my wheelhouse. I'm in that space.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a passion for me, and so I'm always willing to give people information.
Who would think a football player be inspirational? You would have.
Yeah. That's when you're not yelling, hey, go work out. No, we talking about intellect and changing the way we think.
Absolutely.
So,
this is awesome.
Anything
thank you for my book.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you seriously for for sharing your story as well,
Yes.
because I know sometimes it's hard. And folks out there, thanks again for your support.
Thank you guys so much, especially all those who have already purchased the book. Please go online and get it, DeniseTheBroker.com. I love you guys, and I appreciate you for tuning in with us tonight. All right.
Peace and power. Peace and power.
I'm going to save it.
That was love. That was love.
Hold on, end this one.